Hi everyone, my name is Vince Gellman. Thank you so much for visiting my channel. I'm really happy to be here in the forest and to share some new wordplay insights that are going to weave into my understanding, my higher perspective of what's going on right now in the world with all this chaos, with all this confusion and uncertainty. Some of you know that I love wordplay. I love to play with words. I love patterns in words. And this pattern came to me at 4 a.m. while I was meditating. And I don't normally meditate at 4 a.m., but I did this morning because I woke up and felt called to go to my altar. And I'm really glad I did because I'm excited to share with you what came to me. So let's begin. It's going to be a little bit of a weaving explanation. So I trust you will follow me. So the words I do often signify our commitment to marry another, to marry another. So what does marry actually mean? Marry actually means to unite, to merge with another. Marry is actually, it's in the word marinate. So marinate, we are taking these different parts, the beef, the carrot, the potato, and they are slowly coming together. They are uniting, they are merging, and yet they still have their separate parts, their separate identities. Okay, so marry means to unite. It actually means divine union. That's ultimately what we're doing. That's the highest intention of marriage, is divine union. So in the same way that our stew still has its separate parts while it's actually soaking in the other nutrients, the qualities of the other parts. So while it still holds its own, those different, the beef and the carrot and the potato still hold their individuality. The same is true with a healthy relationship, a healthy human relationship. We are at our best in relationship where we can be individuated and yet we are also experiencing our oneness with the other. And that's love. Love is the oneness, it's the union, it's the coming together, it's the knowing that we are not separate but we are one. And so the institution of marriage in its purest form is designed to initiate this experience of coming together, to feel each other as united, and to experience ourselves through our relationship as more than just an individual part. And so there's the oneness, which is love. The experience of love and oneness are interchangeable. But in a healthy relationship, we also have our individual identities. We have our individuation. We have our sovereignty. And so I think of a Venn diagram. You know the Venn diagram. It's the two intersecting circles. So you have the outer parts. You have your individual self where you are differentiated from the other, but you have the part that intersects. And so that's what makes a healthy relationship, is that we have the intersection point of oneness, which is love. And then there's the part where I differentiate myself. I'm different. I have my own values, my own interests. I go out and do things with different people. I have time away from you. So that balance is very healthy and very needed in all relationships, I think. Another metaphor that comes to me is, it's a metaphor, but it's quite literal. Well, as far as the spiritual teacher told me, it's true to her. She told me many years ago that the way birds find their mating partner, is that each sings a song, their bird song. And when those two bird songs intersect into a particular frequency of harmony, that is their mating partner. So it's a particular frequency of harmony. And then they mate. And so it's a very beautiful way of understanding love and understanding attracting our partner. And it really does speak to needing to know our own song. What is our own bird song? Well, that bird song comes not from the brain or the mind, it comes from the soul, it comes from the heart. And when I heal myself enough and connect enough to my authentic self, my true essence, I'm more able to sing my true heart song, my true soul song, and I'm in a better position to attract my beloved and harmonize with my beloved. And again, harmonizing, finding that place of ecstatic union, that divine union, yet also being able to differentiate and have my own independence, my own sense of self. So I want to go back to the word merge. Okay, so to marry means to merge. Okay, so keep that in your mind, because now I'm going to part 2. So we are, as you know, it's hard not to see this. We are moving into what feels like apocalyptic times, like an apocalypse. And that's a strong word, and I'm not ready to use that word to officially define what's going on right now. But it certainly has the flavor of an apocalypse, what's going on right now, because there's all these, there's the protests, there's the flooding, there's the intense wildfires, there's the clear corruption that's becoming more seen. We have unprecedented amounts of homicide, overdoses. We have lots of fear, lots of anxiety, lots of acting out. People having to make very difficult decisions that are forcing them to step into, outside of their box. It's really testing people's faith right now. There's just a lot of clear, unprecedented chaos at this time. So I don't need to explain that to you. You know that. So it has a feeling of apocalypse. Now, the reason why I use that word is because it comes from the Greek, a Greek word which actually means to reveal, to uncover, to take the lid off, which is interesting. So revelation, which is related obviously to the word reveal, it's to reveal something. There's a revelation from within, and there's a revealing of insight. There's a revealing of knowing, which is experienced as a revelation. So what's happening right now is there's a great revealing. There's a great revealing, and there's going to continue to be a great revealing as we move more and more into this chaos. Because that's the thing with chaos, is that it shakes things up to such an extent that things loosen, and in the loosening there's cracks, and in the cracks truth comes out, information comes out. It's so obvious now what the agenda is of the dark overlords. It is so clear. It is, and this is, so that, again, I've said this in the past, there's a strange paradox in the sense that in their overreach of power, they're also making it more obvious what they're up to. And they do their best work from the shadows, kind of like our ego does the best work from the shadows in terms of making us fearful, holding us back from stepping into our power. There's a mirroring actually between our own internal ego structure, the negative ego, and how it operates and how it likes to operate from the shadow, and how the elites generally like to work from the shadow as well. And that's a video I may make in the future, is that mirroring. So there's a revealing, there's more and more information that's coming out, there's more disturbing truths that are coming out that are ultimately there to liberate us. So at first it can be very disturbing what's coming out, but then it serves to liberate us. So there's a revealing. So another way of looking at the word revealing is that there's an emergence of information. There's an emergence of disturbing truths. There's an emergence of how much we've been controlled and manipulated, and to what extent. And there's an emergence of fear and shame that's long been trapped in the system that is now acting out. So what we're seeing is many people are acting out. And that's why there's just so much more chaos. There's more violence. There's more vitriolic reactions on social media. There's more division. So there is an emergence There's an emergence of that's taking place in this global emergency. Okay, so now I'm starting to weave things together with the play of words, the play on words that came to me this morning. So apocalypse, reveal, apocalypse, emergency, and in the emergency there's an emergence of what was once kept in the shadows, both out there and within. Okay, so once there is more emergence of what was once suppressed out there and in here, once there's a more of an emergence, once things come out from the shadow, there is more opportunity for emerging back into the light we are, back into the truth we are. As more truth comes out from the shadows, as it emerges more from the shadows, we are actually more able to merge with truth. Okay, so apocalypse, emergency, emerging from the shadows, and merging with the oneness we are, with the light, the love, the truth we are. And so this is a progression of evolution that's happening very quickly right now as we awaken more and more to the truth we are, and as we uncover, as that Greek word points to, as we uncover what's been held dormant, what's been held in the shadow, what's been covered up. So it's an interesting play of words, and I hope you're enjoying it. I certainly love play on words, and it really feels apropos, and it feels really appropriate to these times. So now let me go to part 3. Part 3 is this. A way of understanding the evolution of consciousness is this. We are moving from a place of fear, a state of fear consciousness. Fear is a state in which we perceive ourselves as separate from others and from life. Okay, fear is an illusion. It creates the illusion of separation, because in truth we're not separate. The truth is we're all one. But so long as we are bound by fear, we perceive ourselves as separate. We perceive ourselves as a part, and therefore a part. We identify with the part, which is this body, which is this story, which is this name, which is this role. Okay? And that's what most people do. They centralize consciousness to the brain, instead of realizing that consciousness is who we are, and it's not limited to any particular form, but expresses itself in form. So we are evolving out of this fear consciousness into another level, a higher level, which is trust. Trust is, I trust myself more. I trust my heart. I trust there's something bigger going on. I trust that there's a soul, and I am that soul, and that maybe God is not someone that I need to fear, but that is a beautiful, loving force that is here to love me and is infinitely compassionate, infinitely loving. And maybe I can trust that more. I can open to that more and trust the feelings in my body that say so. Now, when we spend enough time in trust, we can then go to the next level, which is knowing. Knowing is a higher sense of clarity. It's a higher sense of certainty. So, for instance, if I said to you, do you trust you love your children, or do you know you love your children? It's pretty obvious that you would say, well, I'm guessing for most people, they would say, no, I know. So there's a higher level of certainty. There's a higher level of clarity. It's more, it just is so. I know I love my children. It's not about trusting. And so with that knowing, with that heightened sense of knowing, which is really a deeper merger with truth. It's a deeper merger with truth. We then know ourselves as one. With that knowing, which is a deeper merger with truth than trust, we know ourselves as one, and in that oneness we know ourselves as love, as indivisible love, as ineffable love, as a love that has no bounds. We know ourselves as that oneness we are. We merge with that oneness, and in that oneness we know. We simply know. And that's our place of belonging. And it's no longer about trust anymore. You just simply know. And in that knowing, there is peace. There is peace. So here's the thing, is the more we merge with that knowing of oneness, that feeling of oneness, that sense of oneness, we realize that nothing is out of place. Nothing is out of place. You cannot have oneness and have something out of its place. It just, as soon as you say something is out of place, one becomes two. It becomes fragmented, and that's the beginning of fear. So the peace that surpasseth all understanding, that passes all understanding, is a peace that knows everything is ultimately okay, no matter what is transpiring. It's in knowing that everything is in its place. You have the ocean, and you have the storms at the top of the ocean, which is what's happening right now in the world. We have these tremendous storms. But in the depth of the ocean, there's stillness, and everything is in its place, and everything is one, and everything ultimately is going to be okay. And that is peace. That is that knowing. That is that knowing. So what's happening right now is we have a global emergency, and things are emerging. And as they emerge, they are released from their shadows. They are released from the shackles of fear. They can come more into the light of truth. And as things emerge more into the light of truth, there is a merging with the light of truth and the oneness we are. That love, that truth, and that peace that comes from knowing everything is in its place. Everything is in its place. And when I say everything is in its place, that can be hard to digest from a human perspective when you see a child being sexually abused, or you see someone being tortured, or you see an innocent person being imprisoned falsely for 25 years. It's very difficult to digest that from the human perspective. But what I'm trying to say to you is that when you know everything, when you're in that place of oneness, you can't help but know in your heart everything is in its place. And that doesn't mean that there isn't suffering. That doesn't mean that people aren't being harmed. It doesn't mean that you don't have compassion. The thing is that when you're in that place of oneness and in that place of love, you can actually give more compassion, more love. Your healing power is stronger. You can be of a higher service. But you're not serving from the place of this shouldn't happen. Because as soon as you do that, you create separation, which is really about fear, and you're buying into the illusion. And the thing is, the great illuminaries of our times, like Jesus, knew. They knew something that the rest of humanity did not, or most of humanity did not, and that is that everything is ultimately one. And so when you have that higher perspective, you aren't operating from a place of resistance. You aren't operating from a place of compartmentalizing the oneness that we are into pieces, because that immediately brings you into the illusion. So we are all on this journey together. We are all on this journey of merging back into oneness. And the higher we do that, the more we go up the ascension ladder, the more we merge with oneness, the more we must relinquish all that believed itself as separate. All that believed itself as separate. We merge more back into the light, the truth we are. And this is an accelerated rite of passage that we are on right now at this time. We truly are in a global state of emergency for this very reason. So we can wake up and we can emerge from that dream and merge back into the love, the oneness we are, and therein find the peace that we long for. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much, and please subscribe, please share, please comment, please click notifications, and I'll see you later, and you'll see me later. Take care. Bye.